Good morning, afternoon, whatever time of the day it is. Thank you for actually opening this video and trying to continue learning your lessons. So we're going to start a new chapter. This chapter is going to be all about functions. So the first thing we need to learn about when we're talking about functions is this constant rate of change. When we're talking about linear functions, the constant rate of change means that the rate doesn't ever defer from whatever it is. So he can only download 2 songs each minute. It doesn't ever change. It doesn't ever change to, 4 songs per minute, whatever it may be. The rate is constant. That's why it's the constant rate of change. It's kind of continual. So we're looking at the rate. We're comparing the change of the number of songs to the change in the time. I'll move my thing over just a little bit here. So when we're talking about time, to go from 0 to 1, we only added 1. To go from 0 to 1, we said plus 1. Now to go for a number of songs, it was from 0 to 2, and that became our 2. So from 0 to 2, the stylus is terrible. From 0 to 2, we only went plus 2. But in this case, it says we want to compare the number of songs rate of change to our time x. So we're going to compare, if you want to write in here, we're going to compare our y to our x. Our y changed, it increased by 2. So on the top, I'm going to put plus 2 in the numerator. In the denominator at the bottom, we want to change, or we want to write the change in our time. Our time is increasing by 1 minute at a time. It goes from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. We're counting by ones. Our change there constantly is plus 1. So our rate of change is 2 over 1, or just 2. Either of those could be your answer. Then it says we want to graph the ordered pairs in the table shown, and we need to label the axes. Well, the nice thing is here, it tells us what's our x value and what's our y value. Our y-axis is the horizontal one. If you imagine someone dancing to the YMCA, they throw their hands up in the air, and that's the y. The x is always the horizontal one. So when we edit this, I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger here. If I can't draw all over my board. I'm going to just get this just a little larger. So we're going to look at our graph now. I want to graph what is shown here. We have some awfully erased things. So I'm going to graph this right here. Our ordered pair starts at 0, 0. So we can do that before we even draw our axes. It's going to be right in the center here at 0, 0. Our x-axis, we were talking about time. In this case, we were talking about minutes. If time was our x-axis, the number of songs was our y. So let's label that as number of songs. Hopefully you're writing this better than I can. So that's our y-axis. So at 0 minutes, there are 0 songs. At 1 minute, there are 2 songs. So I can draw on that area. I'm just going to race around it so I cannot get very close to the point. So our first point is at 1, 2. Then at 2 minutes, we have downloaded 4 songs. Just gonna get that giant general area and erase around it because the stylus is not the best. The next one we have is 3 minutes. And at 3 minutes, we doubled the amount of songs we had versus the minutes. And so at 3 minutes, we have 6 songs right here. At 4 minutes, we add 2 more songs. And then I want you to describe the pattern you're noticing here in number 2. So go ahead and pause it and answer that. And then we'll go on to textbook page 172. The big idea of this is that you have a linear relationship, so it's a straight line. When we graphed this, it became a straight line. I could draw, well, if I could draw a straight line, if you were to draw and use a ruler through this graph, you were pretty accurate, this becomes a straight line. Those are linear relationships. You notice the line in linear. Let me underline it here for you just to really send home the point. Linear is talking about lines. This word relationship is interesting because what I've told other classes before is that it's basically the relationship between X and Y. X and Y are honeys here. They're in a relationship, they're working together. And so we're going to always compare our Y value, how much our Y is increasing, over how much our X is increasing. And that's going to give us a constant rate of change. Constant meaning it doesn't change. Here we always added 2 songs. Here we always added 1 minute. So it's a constant rate of change. And you can use any table to find any constant rate of change. On your textbook, page 172, don't you guys miss that sound? On your textbook, page 172, we're going to look at our rate of time. In this case, we're going from 5 to 10. From 5 to 10, we have added 5. Then we'll check out the next one. From 10 to 15, we have added 5. From 15 to 20, we have also added 5. Then we want to look at our other value. In this case, it's temperature. This is different a little bit than what we've seen before because we're going from 95 to 90. So we're not actually even increasing here, we're decreasing. So here we are subtracting 5. But then something weird happens here because we go from 90 to 86. That's not subtracting 5, that's subtracting 4. From 86 to 82, we're subtracting 4. So this is not a linear relationship. This is not a constant rate of change. We would say not linear. I wonder if I could do that with a pen. Not linear. Sad face. Then the other one we're looking at, we're using a graph to check it out. We're always going to do our Y on top. So in this case, it looks like I go down 2 boxes. Each box is worth 20. So 20, 40, we're going down 40. If we are going down, it would be a negative. Then I'm going to check out how much I'm going over. So I'm looking at from this one to this one. Let's just erase that. We are going to, so we went down 2 boxes. And then I noticed we also go over 2 boxes. But each box here to get from 8 to 16, that was 8. So each of these is 4. So we're going 4, 8. 8 over. Which I could actually reduce this fraction. Divide them both by 8. Negative 40 divided by 8. I can try to not write on my computer. It's negative 5. And 8 divided by 8 is 1. So our constant rate of change here is negative 5 over 1. Go ahead and flip to page 170, in this case we have 175. We're gonna try a couple more. So what you're gonna do is you're going to decide if they are linear. So you're gonna check every single change and make sure they're the same each time. So from 5 to 8, it's +3. From 8 to 12, it's +4. So I could stop right there and say that is not a constant rate of change. Does not constantly, or the same each time, change. So we would say no, sad face. Same thing here, you'll check out how much you're increasing by each time. If you wanted to figure that out, you could also use a calculator and just subtract, go the opposite way to see what that difference is. On the next ones, you are going to look at it, but just with the graph. So here we're looking at how much we're increasing. It looks like a half is 1. So every 1 minute you're going up 2, it's talking about inches. So this would be 2 inches every, looks like the change is 1 minute. I would like you to include your units in here just for the sake of clarity, and especially when you're talking about real world problems, you want to use real world answers. In the next one, you're looking at, okay, this is 1 box, 2 box, so I'm traveling 2 inches and I'm going, looks like if this is 30, half of 30 would be 15. So I'm going 15 miles. You always want to do your Y first. Miles, you cannot just put M, it has to be MI. M is meters, not miles. Then the distance you traveled on the map is 2 inches. So 15 miles on the map is 2 inches. That's used a lot of times in cartography when you're talking about making maps or reading maps. Go ahead and try the last one on here, and then I want you to try textbook page 177. You need to go back in this video a little bit and copy down and try those other problems that I would recommend doing so. I want you to submit textbook page 177. So you could either rip it out and turn it in with your Blizzard bag, or you could upload it on Google Classroom, or you could email it to me, or you could send it to me on Remind. If you have any more questions, feel free to jump in that next Google Meet. Remember, that's on Tuesdays and Thursdays for you guys. It would be from 1:35 to 2:15-ish. Let me know if you have any questions. Don't suffer in silence. Don't be a silent sufferer. I'm here to help you even if it's in distance land. Thank you guys for getting through this lesson. Thank yourself for getting yourself to work, and give this a try while it's fresh in your brain. All right, see you guys.